What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the 32nd episode of the HMA Fantasy Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Pughley, and we are here today to talk some wrestling, man. We got the last quarterfinal matchup in our tournament, 2004 versus 2019, and I'm excited to get going today, joined by a bunch of good dudes, a bunch of people that are very knowledgeable in the sport of wrestling, a couple new guys. So, going to be a fun show, and we'll run through who's here with me just for everybody listening. So, of course, as always, we got our man Earl from the Open Mat. How you doing today, Earl?
Doing great. Ready to talk about some wrestling, then have a good weekend.
Heck yeah. Tony, first time
Hey.
we've had you on. How you doing?
Yeah, thanks. I'm doing great. It's a little early in California, but I'm feeling good, ready to go.
Yeah, we appreciate you getting up and getting on this early. I know it's gonna be early for Greg too. But for those of you who don't know, I don't know what rock you've been living under. Tony Rotundo is the godfather of HMA, and we're happy to have him on. And then last but certainly not least, we got our three-time NCAA champ, Greg Jones. How you doing today, Greg?
What's up, Jacob? Thanks for having me, man. I'm with you, Tone. I'm here in Las Vegas too, a little early, but it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
Hey, just
thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Thanks for coming on, man. But Tony, we did tell you we could go later. You said no.
I did.
You did, yeah. I said we could push back. You're like, nah, it's all good. It's cool.
I was just being kind to you guys. I don't know. I probably should have pushed back, but it's fine. My wife was just like, "Why are you getting up at 5:45 tomorrow?" But it's all good. I feel good.
Hey, man, gotta get on that rise and grind.
I know.
But
if I were Sam, I would have gotten up at like 4 a.m. to go for a run. If I were Doug Schwab, I would have gotten up at 3:30 to go carpet a room or something.
This is just insane. Absolutely insane.
Schwab's crazy. Anyways.
But we are not joined, at least at the moment, by our usual Jack Mueller and Seth Gross. Seth is he's a coach at Wisconsin now, and so he is having to go to meetings sometimes, and sometimes that doesn't line up with what we're doing, and obviously they pay him, so he has to go where he has to go. Jack might be jumping on in a little bit if he can, but we're not 100% sure yet. But we'll just go ahead and get started and get talking wrestling, and then we'll see if Jack's able to join us. But before we get into this whole bracket thing, there's a couple things that kind of happened in the wrestling world, and since we were last on here, first thing is Sebastian Rivera to Rutgers. So what's everybody's thoughts on that?
I mean, that was something that there's been underlying rumbles about that for quite a while. And if you watched the Big Ten tournament and saw how the crowd responded to him and how happy he was to be in Jersey, you thought that maybe that could happen. So it's not entirely surprising, but it is kind of exciting to see him back home.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited about it. And he's going 141. So that's going to be cool. He's just constantly moving up. I'm excited to see him wrestle, different competition every year. Tony, what's your take on this Sebastian situation?
I think it's really cool. I think it's good for the sport. I think it's really fun to see, Rutgers kind of the momentum that they have going. He's definitely making a move toward MMA. So, this is just a step for him to kind of on that path to work with Frankie and stuff. So, yeah, no, I think it's a fun, kind of exciting move at least for Rutgers. And it seems like Storniolo and he have a good relationship, and it's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I'm excited to see him transition into MMA. And obviously, speaking of MMA, we have Greg on here with us. So, Greg, what's your view on his whole situation moving over there and maybe his transition?
I'm not too up on all the details that led to his transfer. And I kind of have mixed feelings. I don't know I don't know that I'm quite a fan of this transfer trend and the transfer portal across all sports. I don't know it's necessarily a good thing, but then again, I'm not in that field anymore. So, but at the same time, I get Rutgers being a pretty cool story. What's going on there in Jersey, what they've been able to build over the last several years. So I guess I'm a little bit mixed, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how everything turns out.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see him moving forward no matter what. Earl, Tony, have you guys heard anything about Suriano and if he's supposed to come back or anything like that? Greg, have you heard anything?
No, wrong guy
I don't
here.
think he's coming back.
Yeah.
I think he's on a path to the moon, man. He's just on his own kind of, I don't know, shooting for the stars.
I'm going to be so disappointed if he doesn't come back, because that would be such an awesome 1-2 punch right there. And like, especially if he didn't come back this year, Sebastian wrestled his last year, and then Suriano comes back after that, I'm going to be ticked. But
I can't see him coming back in 2 years.
Yeah, I think if he either comes back this year or he doesn't, in my opinion. I don't know. But have you heard anything, Earl?
No, after he beat Cologne at Beat the Streets last year, I was with the media interviewing him, and he really seemed interested in pursuing other opportunities or other options he has out there. So, when it came out that he wasn't going to wrestle last year, I wasn't entirely surprised. And if he doesn't ever come back, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. What were you saying, Greg?
No, nothing.
Cool. Yeah. No, I mean, I've heard all kinds of things about him. Is it MMA or is it like acting school? I mean,
I've heard the acting thing. That's one of the things that I heard, but I've also been told interest in MMA. So maybe a little bit of both. Maybe I don't know.
Who knows? But yeah, that whole situation is pretty cool to watch unfold, and I'm excited to at least see what happens. But also, on the debater show, they interviewed Storniolo as well. And I don't know if you guys saw that, but he said he told Rutgers to don't drop the ball. And I thought that was kind of funny because it was like a little bit of a jab, but not really. Because he was, you could tell like he was fully supporting Sebastian, but at the same time, it does suck to have a guy like that leave. So he had to kind of get in a little bit of a, don't drop the ball, guys.
Yeah.
But
no pressure.
Yeah. Another thing that happened, we did have the Rumble on the rooftop. That was fun. Bunch of good matches. I thought like Lugo looked great with Pletcher. Do you guys think it was a size thing or was it like, what was going on there?
I don't necessarily know it was a size thing. They're both number 1 seeds at the NCAA tournament. So Lugo's a stud. He's been, I don't know how much he's been training with Iowa recently, but I think he's going to be a force on the freestyle scene.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to see it. What was the score?
5-0 or 5-1. One of those two. I think it was 5-0. It was very one-sided. There's just a lot of reattacks from Lugo that were just beautiful, which is kind of Pletcher's MO. So it's kind of weird that it went that way.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we also had, J.O. Nolf at the end. There was a lot of hype building up for that one, man. I was super excited for it. And like, I don't want to say it let me down because, it from a fan's perspective, obviously you see these two dudes wrestle and you want to see like 48 points put up. But at the same time, these are two of the most high level wrestlers, that we have around. The last time we saw Jo, he came out and put up 50 unanswered points at, was it the US Open or Senior Nationals or whichever tournament that was. And obviously Jason Nolf's incredible. So sometimes it ends up being a chess match that isn't as fun to watch.
Yeah, I think with that match, and then maybe with the thing that Flo's putting on in a couple of weeks, you got to remember these guys are just not going to be in the best shape possible. You know, a lot of them have been quarantined, away from wrestling mats, and they're doing their workouts, they're doing a little bit here and there, but it's not the same thing as being in the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, or being with everybody that they have at North Carolina. So if that match happens 2-3 months down the road, it could be the match we all hoped it would be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I've been telling my guys too, and I think we're not much different with all this stuff going on. That I think we're going to see is you're going to see the truly passionate athletes kind of rise to the top. Guys that generally care about their craft to the core. It's going to, I think, thrive throughout these kind of uncertain situations, and I think that's it's hard to kind of just piece together a training camp here and there, but those that genuinely care, genuinely passionate, are going to find a way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. My thinking is, these are it's like having a car that's not warmed up, right? Like it just sputters a little bit, and the timing, they're at such an elite level, and people don't realize that, like, to get your body and your head in a space where you can hit your moves with precision and getting the timing down through repetition, through faster repetition and stuff. Like, you can shadow wrestle, you can wrestle with, a high school kid or a college kid, but like at an elite level, trying to get your timing down to execute these moves is got to take just more intense training than they've been able to do.
Oh, for sure.
Very good point, Tony.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like it's still cool to see wrestling. I don't care what shape they're in and what's going on. It's still good to see something going on. Did have some really good matches, especially in the early couple. I think it was Zach Sanders and Zane Richards. It was a really good match. But we also had Nazar Kolchitsky retire, so that was kind of cool. I mean, good for him to kind of go out on his terms, and I always think it's cool to see somebody leave their shoes on the mat and kind of have a moment to say goodbye. But he had an awesome career, man, and we're happy to have watched him. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Also, what's up?
I'm planning to go to Texas. I've actually never been to Texas, but the timing isn't great. Things are just not trending well. So my wife is like already like, maybe not. So I don't know. I hope to get there. I have a new camera that I really want to start to fire and have some fun with. So yeah. And I hope they add some folks to the card. A three match card is a little light, but it sounds like they're talking about it. But yeah, should be interesting.
I will say I can't say anything, but I do know one person is definitely officially on the card. And
is it Jo?
I can't say anything about it. I'll tell you later. I'll tell you off air.
Right on.
Do you know one person has signed on to that thing, and they're just ironing out details for an opponent. So there should be at least one more match.
Right, because without an opponent, it's going to be a very boring match.
He's gonna go out there and shadow wrestle to get everybody warmed up. But also we had Earl, your article came out. Do you want to say anything about your article or anything like that?
So yeah, I wrote an article, reactions to Rumble on the Rooftop. I think the part that everybody took notice of was what I said, a failure in leadership. And I talked about Flow Wrestling and their lack of promotion of that event, because it was on Fight TV and kind of the history of doing that. It is what it is. Read the article. I think you can make your own judgments. I wasn't necessarily trying to throw rocks at those guys or talk trash. I was just kind of calling it how I've seen it, and I've kind of heard a lot of these rumblings for a while. So it is what it is. I'd like to see it change from the response that I've received. I don't know that it will, but it's out there.
Yeah, well, I'll be the first one to admit I'm a very poor friend and co-host, and I have not read it all yet. I was telling him before, like as soon as it posted, I opened it on my phone, and then I got distracted doing something, and it's just been sitting on my phone without me reading it for a while. So I need to read that as soon as we get off. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. But I mean, we can go ahead and get into this thing, guys. You know, I could talk about wrestling for days, but I know that we all got stuff going on. Especially Greg might be, flying out to Fight Island or something like that soon, right? Is that what you're doing over there?
Yeah, hopefully tonight. We get all our test results back this afternoon, and flight leaves at 9 p.m. out of Vegas. So it's
pretty cool.
Fun.
And you're with Black Zillions, right?
No. It was Sanford MMA. I got, of course, Kamaru Usman trained with us his entire career. And he's going to fight Gilbert Burns, one of our other guys. And tomorrow's going to do his camp there at a different location. And I got Gilbert, and I got another guy, Jared Gordon, coming on the 15th. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Definitely excited about that. I've been looking forward to all the UFC fights every time they happen because I'm a big UFC fan anyways, but especially when there's no sports going on, it's like turned into a religion. So
right. Mm-hmm. No, they've done a good job. I mean, Dana, regardless of your opinion of him, he took the flack up front, and he's out there getting his guys paid. So, hats off to him I can't imagine just the logistics and the infrastructure they've had to put in place just to put on one event. What would that have been 6 or 7 weeks ago, let alone what they've been able to do up to this point. It's really great for him and his staff to pull this off, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
and pull it off safely, right? That's the goal, right? Not just do it, but do it safely. And to this point, it's been nothing but.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, like you said, he's pulling it off safely, and they've been some of the best fights I've seen. I mean,
some good fights, yeah.
Especially that last one with a hooker, and is it Poirier or Poirier? Poirier. So Poirier,
Louisiana guy.
Dude, that was an awesome fight. Sure. But this is a wrestling podcast. Let's start talking more about wrestling.
Let's do it.
All right. So I'm gonna share my screen and we'll get going.
Yeah, we gotta pick which weight to start. Greg,
do
how
much time do you have? Should we start near the upper weights?
No, we can go. I'm pretty flexible. I'm doing this podcast in front of the hotel because I can't go any further from the front door, and I can't go anywhere else. So,
yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into this thing, man. We to kind of go over, and especially for Greg who doesn't know exactly what it is we're doing. I mean, he definitely has the idea. We kind of told him before, but to see it, what we did was we threw together the last 16 years of NCAA champion lineups, right? And so, if you won an NCAA title in 2004, all 10 of those guys would just basically put in a dual team.
Yep.
So we took all those teams, and I sat down for hours and seeded this thing according to championships, Hodge trophies, All-American honors, all kinds of stuff up until that year, right? So obviously some of these dudes like Kyle Dake is a 4-time champ, but in 2010, he only got credit that year for one national title, one All-American. And so, went through and did it like that and ended up getting the seeds. And we've gotten down to, we're about to find out who our last semifinalist is. So on one side, we've got 2005 versus 2018 for the first semifinal. And then on our side of the bracket, 2013 has already punched its ticket to the semifinals. And we're about to find out if it's going to be 2004 or 2019 to meet them in the semis. So that is where we're at. And that's where we're going to go.
Quick question. So somebody asked this online, how 2019 got seeded number 11. And I know you could just kind of broke it down, but maybe just like 30 seconds on how that seeding happened for them. And You're saying it's up to 2019, right? Not beyond. So like the fact that 2020 didn't happen doesn't influence 2019, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it was unfortunate 2020 didn't happen because that would have been a fun team to throw in there too. But obviously there's dudes on that 2019 team that are just absolute studs, right? Spencer and Yanni, without this Corona situation, are both looking at possible 4-timers. Jason Ulf won his 3rd. You had Zahid. All these guys are incredible. I think that's the fun thing about the seeding is the seeding was very objective, and just the points came out however they came out. And then obviously that makes for more fun matchups and upsets, because 2019 wasn't even supposed to win their first round matchup, but obviously these guys that are on this team are insane, so we get to talk about matchups inside of these seeds. But yeah,
cool.
Yeah, the thing that brought 2019 down was a bunch of one-time champs, right? Kassar, Foster, Lewis, Ashnall, Soriano. There was a bunch of them that just won their first, and it might have even been their first All-American, so they got a little less on the points than other teams.
Got it.
But that is why we do it, man. Objective seeding always makes for fun brackets. So, because if we put our own little flair on the seeding, then like all the seeds are going to hold, and it's going to be no fun to talk about.
Right.
So, we'll go ahead and get into this duel, though, man. So we got 2004 versus 2019, and we'll go ahead and talk about who these teams are, who's on these teams. For 2019, I'll go ahead and start it off. We have Spencer Lee, and in 2019, this is his 2nd national title. Nick Suriano winning his 1st, Yanni Dakmahalis winning his 2nd, Anthony Ashnall winning 1 for Rutgers, Jason Nolf winning his 3rd, Makai Lewis winning his 1st, Zahid Valencia with his 2nd, Drew Foster with his 1st, Bo Nickel with his 3rd, and Anthony Kassar winning his only national title. And then on the other side, Earl, fill us in on who's going for 2004.
All right, so the first 7 guys on this list are all winning their first or only national titles. Jason Powell, Nebraska; Zach Roberson, Iowa State; Cliff Moore, Iowa; Jesse Jansen, Harvard; Matt Gentry of Stanford; Troy Letters of Lehigh; and Chris Pendleton of Oklahoma State. Then we have Greg at 184 winning his 2nd of 3 titles; Damian Hahn winning his 2nd title; and then Tommy Rollins of Ohio State winning his 2nd title.
Very cool. Yeah, man, this is going to be fun. So before we get into it, I got to ask, because it's been such a hot topic for us. All right. We had in one of these matchups, Greg, we had Troy Letters versus David Taylor. And I was the only person here that said that David Taylor would get bonus, and everybody told me I was crazy. You'll probably tell me I'm crazy too, but I want to get your thought on that match if that were to happen.
No, you're wrong.
Yeah. Good. All right.
You're wrong.
It was senior year David Taylor, okay? But we also, I don't know how familiar you are with HMA. One of our guys over here, Jude, actually wrestles at M2 with David Taylor. And he asked him at practice, he was like, would you major Troy Letters? And David Taylor was like, absolutely not. No way. So, yeah, I even got shut down.
Said, no, I didn't have the chance to wrestle Troy in college, but Troy Letters has maybe 2, definitely the last win against me pre-college in high school, I think, actually. So I got I can't, just for myself, there's no way I could say he could get him having 2 wins over me would get majored by anybody. So I'm going to say no. But now Troy, there's no way. I'm not, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's definitely some recency bias for me for sure. But it was senior David. I was all on board with it. And even when they were all telling me no, they were like, oh, you're crazy. It's like, no, And then, even David was like, no, there's no way. He's crazy. It's like, okay, all right, I'll shut up now. But anyways, I don't know. What do you guys want to start at? We can just go ahead and start at 125 if you want, because I think the last 4 are pretty awesome, or we can start wherever. You guys have any opinions on it?
That's fine for me.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Cool. Yeah, let's just start 125 because the last 4 matchups are going to be a lot of fun. I mean, 5 are going to be a lot of fun to talk about. But at 125, we have Jason Powell of Nebraska for the 2004 squad versus Spencer Lee of Iowa. And like I said before, this is Spencer Lee's second national title. This is the one where he beat our man Jack Mueller in the finals. And in both those finals, or in both those NCAA tournaments, he absolutely destroyed everybody on his way to the finals. And then in the finals, his freshman year, I believe he won 5-0 over Suriano and then 5-1 over Jack. Those are definitely the scores. I can't remember if they're the right way. But yeah, 4 or 5 point wins in the finals both those years. Spencer Lee goes on to win the Hodge in 2020 and doesn't have a chance to win a third. So on the other end, Jason Powell, Earl, fill us in.
All right, so Jason Powell is a senior this year, went 26-2. He was the 1 seed, 3-time All-American, going 5-3-1. He lost to Sam Hazewinkle at the Big 12s, and then beats Rob Redman in the quarters with a pin, beats Sam in the semi 6-3. In the finals, he gives up the first takedown to Kyle Ott, and then goes on to tech him 17-2. So he was a pretty bad dude himself on top.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can go ahead and jump into it. Greg, how do you see this matchup going? Do you watch a lot of college wrestling anymore, or?
I watched enough. Enough, but I've known, Spencer went to high school 10 miles from the house I grew up in. So I've known him at a decent level for a long time. And he's just proven to be one of those, generational type collegiate wrestlers. You know what I mean? I got a lot of respect for Jason Powell, but, Spencer was just, I think, just head and shoulders above him right now.
Yeah, for sure. Tony, I know you did a lot of research on all this stuff. What do you got in this matchup?
I agree. It's hard not to take Spencer here. Whether he bonuses, hard to say, but yeah, I got Lee on this one.
Yeah, nah, I'm comfortable saying Spencer by major. I think it's always hard, especially when you have national champs wrestling each other, to talk about bonus points. But like both you guys said, Spencer's just a generational talent. I mean, he's a guy that, I don't know, pick the last 20, 30, whatever years you want to pick, and there's a lot of guys that I can see Spencer getting bonus over that are also great in their own right. So I'm going to pick Spencer major. I think Powell maybe holds it close, but maybe like a 9-point major. Earl, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, I echo everybody else about Spencer Lee, and I might be on board with a major, but I'd probably more oftentimes than not say 5-6 point decision.
Okay, cool. So we just got a decision for this one.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
awesome. Cool. So we've got Spencer Lee winning this first round matchup for 2019 by decision. And we'll move on to 133 pounds. Earl, fill us in on Zach Roberson.
All right. Zach Roberson was a senior. He was 31-3 this year, the 5th seed, 3-time All-American, going 7-4-1. He also lost in the Big 12 finals to 2-time national champion Johnny Thompson. His tournament was a 3-1 win over Foley Dowd in the quarters, 6-3 win over Travis Lee in the semis. He was a returning champion, and then he beats Josh Moore 5-4 in the finals.
Awesome. And on the other end, Nicky Suriano. This was probably one of the most stacked weights of all time, 133 in 2019. I mean, we had fixed Micic. I'm blanking on all these dudes, but RBY, DeSanto, Philippi, just a bunch of really, really good dudes in this weight class. Suriano beats Ethan Lezak and Micic on his way to the finals before in the finals beating Dayton Fix in overtime in that controversial takedown where there might have been a headgear pull or not. But either way we look at it, Suriano comes out with the victory after being runner-up the year before to Spencer Lee. Suriano is just unbelievable defense. Somebody's really hard to score on. So what do we see this matchup going like, Earl?
So I'm kind of going to echo what I said when we had Roberson versus Tony Ramos. Roberson was known for, he had this little like shuck by thing that it was kind of like his signature move that you knew it was coming. And I think this would be an interesting kind of clash of styles because I think Suriano could play into that. And, you know, he could give up something based on that type of style. I mean, at the end of the day, I still feel like Suriano is better and would win this match more often than not. But it does kind of make me think twice about it. And, you know, if they wrestled 10 times, I think Roberson would get, you know, his share of wins. But picking one, I go with Suriano by decision.
Yeah. What about you, Tony?
Well, I echo that. You know, I watched some video on Roberson, and not only did he have that slide by or that shuck, but it was on the left side. And I'm pretty convinced he hits it once a match against Nicky coming in hard, you know, that kind of straight ahead thing. It was really slick. It's actually kind of fun to watch. This is a toss up for me. I think that, yeah, kind of to Earl's point, I think that Roberson wins this 4 out of 10 times. So I'm kind of torn, but ultimately Suriano finds a way to win that year. So I'm going Nick, I guess. I'd like to hear what Greg thinks on this one.
Yeah, what do you got, Greg?
I'm gonna go against you guys, against the grain here a little bit. Zach Roberson was one of my favorite guys to watch around that time. Really smart, really technical. You know, of course, Iowa State was really rolling then, so you had all the you know, trickle down from Kale and stuff like that, and the program was rolling pretty good. So I'm going to go. I think the year before, Roberson was pinned in the first round and came back and took 4th place. If my memory serves me correctly. But no, I'm going to go with the skill and technique with Roberson to kind of take out the intensity that Suriano brings. I think Roberson prevails.
Yeah,
right on.
Man, I just like I'm definitely usually the offensive guy. I usually lean with the offensive guy, right? But I don't know. There's just some guys that are that good defensively and positionally, and there's not a lot of people that can score on Suriano. I mean, think about the guys that have, you know, Micic, Lee. I'm struggling to find other ones, right? DeSanto, I guess, did, but I don't know. I find it really hard to see somebody slipping through the position that Suriano has at least more than once. And I think that Nick can find a way to get enough points to win the match. So I'm going to go Nick Suriano. And that'll take it for 133. So I think we all got decision, obviously, right? It's going to be a close match either way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
For sure. Cool. So we're down through 2 matches. We've got Spencer Lee and Nick Suriano taking the wins for 2019. And then we'll move down to 141 pounds where we're going to have Cliff Moore of Iowa versus Yanni Diakomahalis from Cornell. Yanni D, this is his 2nd national title. In this match, he beats Joey McKenna in the finals. I believe he beat Ironman in the semifinals. Or was it? I think it was Ironman, wasn't it? Yeah. He beat Ironman in the semifinals 2 years in a row, actually. His freshman year, he beat Dean Heil, Ironman and Bryce Meredith. And then this year he takes out actually a crazy route to the finals. I mean, I think we all know what Yanni is and how good Yanni is. But I think this run and this second year gets overshadowed. And I say overshadowed because I know we've talked about freshman Yanni on here a lot. And I think everybody kind of has agreed up until now that freshman Yanni was maybe even better. But I don't know, man. Like this run, Yanni hits Pete Lapari first round, and then Chad Redd, Dom Demas, Ironman, and Joey McKenna. I don't see how a run gets harder than that. Literally, after the first round, all of them are All-Americans. It's insane. So, Yanni always finds a way to get it done, man. If there is somebody that I'm going to bet on to find a way to win a match, it's probably Yanni. So, on the other end, Cliff Moore, fill us in, Earl.
All right, Cliff Moore, he was a senior this year, 3-time All-American, going 6-6-1, 5 seed, went 33-2, Big Ten champion. He beats Jason Mester in the quarterfinals 6-4. He majors Scott Moore in the semis 14-2. Scott Moore was undefeated at like 48 or 49-0 with like 30 pins, and he still ended up being the Hodge Trophy runner-up that year, which was kind of crazy. And then in the finals, he beats the 7 seed Matt Murray from Nebraska 5-2.
Yeah. Greg, do you know much about Cliff?
Yeah, he's a coach of my alma mater now. Of course I do. I don't see how he takes out Yanni. I don't see it.
Yanni's just all kinds of funky and weird, and like no matter what, he just always comes out on top, man.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know how to describe his style. But Tony, what do you think?
I agree. Hard to go against Yanni on this. Moore was kind of that just grinder Iowa style. I think Yanni finds ways to win here.
Yeah, for sure. Earl?
Yeah, put me down for Yanni. Like Tony said, grinder Iowa style. I'll take Yanni.
Yeah. Who have we seen Yanni wrestle that's been that kind of grinder style? I'm trying to think of who comes to mind, because I mean, obviously, I don't know. I can't think of. I don't know. I'm blanking out. I can't think of anybody that's kind of that style. But yeah, I agree that I think Yanni would win either way. I mean, he's just one of the best guys to do it. And jumping down to 149 pounds, we're going to go Jesse Jansen of Harvard versus Anthony Ashnault of Rutgers. Fill us in on Jesse Jansen, Earl.
All right, Jesse Jansen was the 1 seed this year, 3-time All-American, going 3-3-1, went 38-1 this year, 3-time EIWA champion. He was the OW at the 2004 tournament. He beat David Dees 10-5 in the quarters, Ryan Chirella 11-4 in the semis, and then Zach Esposito 9-3 in the championship.
All right. And on the other end for our man Anthony Ashnault, he was the 1 seed coming into the tournament. And on his way to the finals, takes out Jarrett Deegan, Matthew Kolodzik, and then Micah Jordan in the finals, 9-4 over Micah Jordan in the finals. So pretty controlled win. I think, over Ashnault's career, we obviously knew how good he was. He was a 4-time All-American, but those first 3 years just kind of was always that guy that everybody knew was really good, but wasn't going to be like national title caliber. And then took a red shirt and came back and was just a different animal, in my opinion. I mean, he was just awesome his senior year. Blew through everybody. Every time somebody doubted him, he righted the wrong and capped off an undefeated season with a national title. I just always think back to that senior season to when he did the little finger guns at G Feller Oklahoma State match. I think that was pretty funny. But a lot of personality from our man Ashnault, a lot of fun to watch, and excited to watch him on the upcoming Flow card as well. But who do you guys got in this match, man? Tony, what do you think?
Jensen.
Yeah.
He was great. He was very solid. I think that, and it's hard. So this is his senior year, so we can count his previous, NCAAs, right?
Yeah.
So for me, just listening to you guys over the course of this thing, over the course of this competition and stuff, for me, repetition, being top 3 goes a long way. And so I have Jesse on this one. Just he was able to, he was able to compete at a very high level repeatedly. So yeah, he took out some studs on his way this year.
Yeah, go through that run again, Earl. Go through that Jesse's bracket.
Yeah, so he beat David Dees, I think that's how you say it, from Brown 10-5, beats Ryan Chirella 11-4, and then Zach Esposito 9-3.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Jesse was wrestling at a level that year where, he had smelled it a couple of times, and I could remember he wrestled in a way that he just wasn't going to be denied. He was just wrestling at a very, very high level. So I'm gonna go with Jesse.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna agree. I'm a huge Astronaut fan. I wanted so hard to pick him, but I agree. I mean, looking at the competition that each of them had, I mean, obviously there was some high competition with Astronaut as well, but I mean, you're talking about rolling through Chirella as one of which is that the Chirella that won a title or didn't win a title?
Neither of the two.
Neither of them won a
kids,
title.
yeah.
Oh,
but
well,
he was the one that lost to Hendricks 2 years later at 65.
Okay. Still, that's one of the better dudes to not win a title, right?
Yeah.
That's where I was trying to get to. And then obviously Esposito was a national champ, right? Ashnall didn't have those same caliber guys. He had really high All-American, really consistent dudes, but not national title caliber guys in those brackets, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go Jansen as well. Earl, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this would be a cool matchup because you got both guys that are really tough on top. Jansen was known for his crab ride at that time, and then knowing he was so good on top, but then seeing these scores, 6-point win against Esposito, 7 points against Chirella, he's able to get it done from everywhere. So yeah, I got to go Jansen.
Yeah. All right. That still bother me, man. I can't believe I said that. God, I got that wrong.
Hey, can I pause here for an interesting stat?
Yeah.
It's back a match, but you know how you asked if Yanni has hit a grinder opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Based on wrestling stat, Yanni has never wrestled a guy from Iowa.
Seriously?
Yeah. Based on this, there's Northern Iowa, but not the University of Iowa. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, Iowa hasn't had anybody in that weight that could really challenge him anyways, in my opinion. I mean, you're going to have Ironman this year, but that's crazy to go through and not hit anybody at all.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
anyway,
we can keep going. 157 pounds. Matt Gentry of Stanford versus Jason Nolf of Penn State. This is Jason Nolf's third and final national title, going out on top as a senior. This is when he beat Tyler Berger in the finals. But on his way to the finals, he has a fall in 43 seconds in round one, and then a tech fall in round two over Van Brill. Pagdaleo, he tech falls in the next round, 3-2 over Hayden Hidley in the semifinals, and then a major decision win, 10-2 over Tyler Berger in the finals. I mean, when you look back at Nolf's career, the dude only had 3 losses, but one of them was that injury default with Van Brill, so I don't even count that, right? So he only lost twice, really. He lost to Imar 2 times. And then besides Imar, Hidley was the only other guy that really got close to him, right? Imar beat him. Hidley got close. Besides that, there really wasn't anybody that was ever there with him, right? And this year, Bo Nickel won the Hodge this year, but, I think we can all remember the entire year it was kind of a battle back and forth of if Nolf or if Bo was going to win the Hodge. So definitely, a Hodge level guy this year for Jason Nolf, an incredible career. So on the other end, we got Matt Gentry of Stanford, Earl.
All right. Matt Gentry was a junior this year. He went 42-0, one of only 2 guys to go undefeated that year. He was the 2 seed. He ended up making the 2008 and 2012 Olympic teams for Canada. In the quarters, he beats Philip Simpson 8-2, beats returning champion Ryan Bertine in the semis 6-4, and then Jake Percival in the finals 4-2.
Yeah. Man. I just, again, a guy like Jason Nolf is just a guy where I don't see there being a whole lot of guys that can beat him, right? As we go back through these, it's no disrespect to any of the dudes that we put him up against, but there's just really not a whole lot of guys that I'm even considering going the other way with. It's just if Nolf's going to get bonus points or not. So I'm going to go with Nolf. But as far as bonus points, I want to hear what you guys have to say on this matchup before I start leaning away on that. So Greg, what do you think about this matchup with Gentry?
Nolf is going to split the score on him pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll split the score. Definitely I would hate to say definite, but I would think he would score some type of bonus.
All right. Tony, what you got?
I've got Nolf, but I'm not ready to go bonus on it. But yeah, Matt's a great competitor, and he was tough, he was fast. But I have Nolf here. It's hard to go against Nolf this year.
Yeah. Earl.
Yeah, and Gentry also, he wrestled a pretty tight match with Jordan Burroughs at the 2012 Olympics. Has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but just in general is also Stanford's first national champion.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, yeah, I'd be comfortable saying Major Nolf.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on board with that, Major Nolf. Nolf was just a dude that continuously scored. Right, there's a lot of guys in college that'll get maybe not like a 1-point lead, but at least like a comfortable lead and kind of settle into the match and take it easy on the way out. And that was not Nolf, man. The dude was trying to score every possible second. He could have been up 14-0 with 2 seconds left, and he's taking a shot. So yeah, I'm comfortable going Nolf, major decision. So we're gonna have our first bonus points of the duel. Man. But Jason Nolf moves on, major decision for 2019 right here. And we'll keep grinding on, getting into really the beef of the awesome matches, right? These last like 4 or 5 matches are absolutely insane. And I'm excited to talk about them. So let's kick it off. 165, Troy Letters, Lehigh versus Mekhi Lewis of Virginia Tech. Earl, start us off with Troy Letters.
All right. Troy Letters was the 2 seed this year, went 36-1. I was a 3-time All-American. This is his second at that point. He was a runner-up the year before. In the quarters, he pins John Clark in 1:22. He beats Matt King in the semis 4-2. And then he beats the 1 seed Tyrone Lewis in the finals 5-2. Lewis was the only guy to beat him that year.
Yeah. On the other end, we've got Mekhi Lewis. Mekhi, everybody knew he was good, right? He was a junior world champ, so everybody knew that this guy could have a great career and that he was on, a certain level above a lot of these guys. But this is another one of those situations where we've talked about with Jack before, where the ACC is really getting a lot stronger and really coming on, and it's really exciting to see that growth over there. But there's definitely some dudes, especially some of these weight classes, that kind of sneak through the ACC schedule without having really tough matches. Makai was one of those this year where he didn't really hit anybody too big until NCAAs. So just like Jack this same year, I guess, we knew that they were coming in with good records and good seeds, but we're like, okay, well, we'll see when they hit one of these, tougher dudes. And Makai coming in as the 8 seed, fall in the first round, and then beats McCormick of Army 4-1, then takes out Alex Marinelli, the 1 seed, 3-1 in the quarterfinals. Semifinals, he beats Evan Wick 5-2, and then beats returning 2-timer Vincenzo Joseph in the finals 7-1. Dude just really got on a roll through this whole tournament. And I know for me personally, I loved watching him. But every time he got to one of those matchups, I thought for sure the other guy's going to win, right? I thought Marinelli was going to win. And then I was like, oh, cool. Wick's going to make a final. Nope. And then Chenzo, he's going to win his third. Nope. And the dude just kept denying everything I thought the entire time. So I'm really excited to see his career unfold, especially after, winning a national title and then taking a year off to get levels better. So I'm excited to see what he comes back as. But that's it for Makai. Well, I'm going to drop it down to Tony. Tony, what do you think about this matchup, man?
I think it's a great match. But I've got letters on this one. I'm not going to let the recency bias get to me. He hits this crab ride on Lewis to avenge that loss in the finals of the NCAA. So Lewis beat him at the duel, and then he avenges that loss, and he catches Lewis in a crab ride that was real dangerous. He's kind of flat on his back, and Lewis is up on his hands. So one of those situations, where like he's almost pinned, and then as they came out of that, he catches him just as you would, and holds him just long enough to score some backs. And that's kind of the difference in the match. Whether he could do that to Makai, I'm not sure, but he found a way to win, and I think he does that here in this match.
Yeah. What do you think, Earl?
Yeah, definitely the crab ride. And I think I mentioned it the last time we discussed these guys. I was coaching high school at this time, and between him and Jansen, all my kids wanted to learn the crab ride. And so we did a lot of that. Troy, at that point in time, I loved going on all the message boards and stuff. And he was one of those guys where it was like, I don't think he loses another match for the rest of his career. He may be a 3-time national champion, and injuries and kind of interrupted that a little bit. But
Perry beat him the next year. Sorry, Earl, in the semis. He actually got caught in the tilt. It's a great match. You can find it on YouTube. It's a good match.
Yeah, that was that was a great weight class with Perry and Hendricks too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just it's weird because I don't necessarily know how you score on Lewis, because none of those guys really could take him down, and he got out of some real scary situations in the Marinelli match in the final against Chenzo. But I love Troy Letters. I got to go with him here. He'll find a way to win.
Yeah. Man, it's hard. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go Troy Letters as well. I think the thing that's tipping me is I don't know. Like, I think that they're both great, and it's a really hard decision for me personally. But the thing that's tipping me a little bit more the Letters way is honestly Makai and freestyle. Recently, I mean, obviously he's been great. He was junior world champ, but him losing that match, was it senior nationals when he lost to Logan Massa? I mean, obviously Logan Massa is a great freestyle wrestler, very quality opponent, but I don't know, just there's obviously no matches in common, or guys in common we can really look at, but I was just trying to think of the guys that I've seen beat Makai and how they would match up with Troy Letters. And I think that I don't know. It's hard to pick. I'm going to go Troy as well. What do you got, Greg?
I concur. I'm gonna go with Troy. I think Troy was too seasoned at that point. He was really good. I think he beats Makai, and I'm with you guys too. I really like Makai Lewis, but Troy takes the win
for sure. Man, I don't know. Is there a guy in college wrestling next year, whatever the next season we have is, that you guys are more excited to see what happens with? Like, right. I mean, there's dudes obviously that are super exciting. Yanni, Spencer, like we know what we're getting with them. Like, I'm thinking, is there a guy that you're more jacked to see how his career unfolds than Makai? For me personally, I can't see anybody else that I'm more excited to get back to watching.
DeSanto.
DeSanto. Yeah, for sure. I'm a huge DeSanto fan, but it's excited to see if he tries to break somebody's arm again or something.
Right.
Greg, you need to grab DeSanto, man. As soon as he graduates.
Yeah. A lot of guys like him.
Definitely grab him, bring him over to MMA, because I will buy whatever card he is on.
For sure.
Just want to see what happens, man. But let's keep going. 174 pounds, where we're going to have Chris Pendleton versus Zahid Valencia. This is a cool one because this is obviously the coach versus wrestler matchup. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it. When I posted this on Instagram, Chris Pendleton posted on it and was like, I can't remember. I'm going to have to look up and see exactly what he said, but he took a little playful shot at Zahid. I thought it was funny. I'm going to have to look it up here in a second. But Zahid Valencia, this is his junior season. He wins his second national title. We all remember, his freshman year, and it was either the quarters or the semis with Mark Hall, where it was a really good match, and that headgear pull ended up determining the match, and that was Zahid's first loss in his college career. And I think you take that headgear pull situation out of there, and there's a good argument for Zahid being in the finals that year, and possibly winning a title as a freshman. But as a sophomore, he beats Mark Hall in the finals, and as a junior this year, he also beats Mark Hall in the finals. He battled a little bit of adversity this year. I know that this is the year that he lost to Mark Hall in the duel. He also got pinned by Daniel Lewis in the duel. But, maybe a little mid-season party rust shaken off. And he got back on track and blew through everybody in the NCAA tournament. So Zahid Valencia, if he doesn't take those couple of losses during the season, definitely a Hodge contender this season. Earl, what you got for Chris Pendleton in 2004?
All right, this is junior Chris Pendleton. At the point, he was a two-time All-American, going third and first. He was the 1 seed this year, going 33-1. This is a year that Askren beat him in the Big 12 finals. At NCAAs, he majored Pete Friedel 14-3. He pins Ryan Lang in the first period, and then he beats Askren 11-7 in the finals.
Yeah, he made a habit of doing that, beating Ben Askren in the finals. But so I looked it up, and Chris Pendleton, he commented on this, and initially he put Pendleton by major, and that was pretty awesome. Yeah. He came back later and said it was a joke. No one majors Zahid, but it was pretty funny.
I'll take this one if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
I chatted with Pendleton. He said Zahid wins. He said that he could probably he'd beat him on the mat, but he said that Zahid probably wins that match. So really? I'm going Pendleton, or I'm going Zahid on this. Sorry. Yeah.
I assume that they probably wrestle a lot in the wrestling room, or did.
Oh yeah. like a lot. And I bet Zahid takes him down a lot.
Yeah. Man. That's definitely got to be one of those situations as a coach where even the level of Chris Pendleton, like Zahid maybe kind of catching fire and practicing and beating up on him a little bit, and Pendleton being like, all right, somebody else tap in real quick. I need a break.
Right.
But yeah, it's got to be Zahid here for me. Another one of those situations where all respect to two-time champ Chris Pendleton, but Zahid, man, just different level from a lot of people. And so I will go Zahid Valencia, maybe a 3-point win, somewhere in that ballpark. What you got, Greg?
I've had that same conversation with Chris a couple summers ago, and he said the same thing. But I don't know if I agree. Maybe not. Chris said it he would convincingly he would beat him, but I don't see it. I don't see it happening that way. I have a lot of respect for Chris. I've wrestled him a couple times, and I think Pendleton finds a way to win this match. I really do.
Yeah, it's interesting. What do you see as far as stylistically matching up? Do you think of anything with that?
No, they would both challenge each other with their underhooks and their trips and stuff like that. I would say Zahid's probably going to do a little bit more low level attacks and things like that. But I just think ultimately Pendleton finds a way to win the match. I don't know how, but I think I don't think Zahid puts the points up on him that he's able to put on most people, and Pendleton finds a way.
He could catch him in a cradle. He's so good at that, particularly off a shot. It'd be a good match. I'm sure they've scrapped in the room a lot.
Yeah. Earl, what do you think?
Yeah, see, I think that Chris is probably being humble. What's he going to be like? The guy that I coach? Yeah, he sucks. Yeah, I beat him. Yeah. This is probably my favorite match. If we actually got to see it, just thinking about it's my favorite one to go through. The guys Pendleton beat. I mean, he didn't just beat Askren. He put it on him, even though it's a freshman. Ben. The other guys, Majors and Pins, and I don't know. I got to go with Chris.
All right. Well, we're going to the Twitter poll since we've got an even split. All right, we got an even split. We got 2 Pendleton. We got 2 Zahid. What do you guys think Twitter poll says?
I say Zahid.
Yeah.
No, Chris Pendleton.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. I didn't see that one coming at all. I thought for sure looking at it, I was like, it's going to be 90% Zahid because everybody so recency bias, all the recency bias. But Chris Pendleton, he wins the poll 52.2%. So so real close margin, but Chris takes the win here, man. So I don't know if he listens in, but I'll have to comment back on that and make sure he knows that he has bragging rights and he can tell Zahid that he beat him. I think I swear I was looking ahead. I think we have this matchup again because obviously both of them are multiple time national champs, and in our semifinal that's already set up, 2005 versus 2018, we're going to have this again. So we're going to be talking about this match again. But so Chris Pendleton is going to take the win for 2004. And we'll get moving. And we have a familiar face at 184 pounds. And Greg Jones of West Virginia versus Drew Foster of Northern Iowa. I'll go ahead and start and say a little bit about Drew Foster real quick. This national tournament was kind of thought to be Miles Martin's to lose, right? It was Miles Martin and nobody was going to come close. Miles Martin makes it to the semifinals and gets upset by Gabe Dean, Max Dean. And then it was just kind of, who knows, right? There's a bunch of really good dudes in this weight class. Obviously, Foster, Dean, Miles Martin. I mean, there's just so many good dudes in here. But the finals ends up being Max Dean versus Drew Foster. Drew Foster's route to the finals was a major decision over La Fragola. Beat Louis Dupre 7-1, beat Zach Zavatsky 6-2, and then beat Red Hot Chip Ness 7-4 in the semifinals. He makes the finals with Max Dean. Max Dean had actually beat Drew Foster earlier in that year. So it was kind of kind of thought that Dean would win again. But Foster comes through and gets the 6-4 win to take the first national title in a long time for the Panther Train, and really kind of reestablished UNI, back on the national title scene. But Foster, I mean, he had an incredible year. He capped it off with a national title. Really Cinderella run, really fun to watch. On the other end, though, our man Greg Jones, I don't know if he wants to talk about himself at all, or if we'll let Earl talk, or what do you guys want to do?
Go ahead, Earl.
All right, so this is a junior year for Greg, 26-0, 1 seed. He wins his second title, 2-time All-American, third EWL title. In the quarters, he beats Brian Glenn 3-2, semis Paul Bradley 8-3, in the finals Ben Heiser 10-5. And I had a friend bring this up to me recently. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Greg, being a 184 pounder after his graduation, was asked to come to camp by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Is that how it played out? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy. It wasn't a heavyweight. We see that on occasion, but a 184 pounder. So that's what kind of respect he had.
What position were they wanting you to try out at?
Probably corner or safety.
Did you have any interest there, or was it just?
Well, yeah, no,
fun?
I went up and worked out for him at the training camp. I just did a private kind of combine type workout with him, and I got invited back to go to start training camp with him. But the time I did the workout, I was getting ready to get my groin repaired. So by the time training camp rolled around, I wasn't in any kind of shape to go up there. So that's just kind of where it stayed at. So, but it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool experience.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So if things go differently, then we might have been talking about Greg Jones instead of Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, I don't know about that.
But yeah, that's cool to talk about. This matchup, I don't know. I mean, do you want to talk about it yourself, Greg, or do you want to leave it up to us? Or I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
I'll go. I wrestled countless guys like Drew Foster. I think that match plays out like a lot of the matches did. I think I ended up splitting the score, a couple takedowns in the first period, finished the period on top, finished with riding time, and end up, you look back at my 3 titles, I would say with the exception of 2 that were just named, and a third of the other match was in that 10-3, 12-5 type range throughout all 3 of my NCAA careers tournaments. So I think that match pretty much plays out the same way.
Yeah. No, I was definitely thinking bonus points here. I think major decision for Greg. I think just too good on the feet, man, for sure. What do you got, Earl?
I'd say kind of like this Ben Heiser 10-5 type match, something like that.
All right, and Tony?
I agree. And I'm kind of with you. I think you might bonus.
Yeah. So we got 2 votes for major. Is Earl, you said like a healthy decision, right?
If I get a riding time point, there's a lot of scoring going on. I'll tell you that.
So you go major or not?
I would probably major him. Yeah.
All right. So that's what I was thinking. I mean, just dude, you're on a different level on your feet, and I didn't fully immerse myself into like college wrestling fandom until later, so I didn't really get to watch you. But I know I've been going back watching a lot of YouTube videos, and it's a lot of fun to watch you, man. And
thank you.
We've had people comment on, I post this on a bunch of Facebook groups and stuff to get, people talking about it and see what people's opinions are. And I know one of the matchups I think we had was you and Ed Ruth. And somebody, I can't remember who it was, somebody commented on it and said that they picked you in the match, and they were like, "There's only 2 dudes ever that I would pick over Ed Ruth," and it was you. And I couldn't think of who the other guy was then, but I think it's pretty obvious that Cale wrestled 84, right? At one point.
Yeah,
Right.
first
Gotta be
3
Cale.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, because I never found out who that other person was, but it had to be Cale.
Yeah.
So pretty cool though, man. Love talking about your matches.
Yeah.
We've got Greg major decision here. And we'll get on to this second to last match. Bo Nickel versus Damian Hahn. Man, we're a tie score 13-13. Fill us in on Damian Hahn, Earl.
All right, this is senior year Damian Hahn. He was the 1 seed, went 33-1, 4-time All-American, went 5-5, 1-1, 3-time Big Ten champion. In the quarters, he beats Josh Burt 6-2, Ryan Bader in the semis 2-1, and then Ryan Folsis from Iowa in the finals.
All right. On the other end, Bo Nickel. This is, obviously, if you're listening to this, you probably know who Bo Nickel is, and he needs no introduction. But Hodge Trophy winner in this season, his national tournament this year went pin, major pin, and then 5-1 in the finals. But he pinned Josh Hokett, major decision over Nathan Traxler, pinned Pat Bruckey, and then that 5-1 win over Colin Moore. He did actually pin Colin Moore in the first period, I believe, earlier in the season in the duel. I don't know if you guys agree. I think I've said it before, but I think that last Bo Nickel match was kind of a little bit of him taking it in and enjoying his last match in a Penn State singlet, because obviously 5-1 is a really good win, especially on the national title stage. But for me, it just wasn't as much offense as we're used to seeing out of him, and I think that he was kind of taking it in a little bit and enjoying his last match. But undefeated season, wins a Hodge Trophy, and goes out with either the first or second. I think he's second in pins at Penn State. I think it was 59 for him and 60 for Nolf, one way or the other. But yep, historic career. Tony, what do you got on this match?
Well, does he take it in against Damian Hahn and
Right.
get his teeth knocked out? And he's not going to roll over Damian Hahn. So on this one, again, yeah, you're right. It's hard and it's hard to go against Bo on this, but I do not think he takes this match in and enjoys like his final match. I think he is pushed, and I think it's a very close match. Hahn was exceptionally good and athletic, and I think Bo does not do to Damian Hahn what he did to some of the other competitors that year in 2019.
Yeah. So you got Bo still winning the match though?
I have Bo winning the match like 5-4.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Greg, what you got?
This is probably the most interesting matchup from my standpoint. And I'm going to disagree with you also on that too. I don't think you arrived to the national stage and I've had such a great career. I'm just going to go take it all in. I don't see that happening. The match just unfolds how it unfolds, but I'm split on this one. I'm really split. But Hahn, Damian, 2-time champ, man. I'm gonna lean Bo on this one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna lean Bo Nickel. Yeah.
Cool. Well, you probably have a better opinion on being on the national stage than me, seeing as you have a couple more.
Well, I don't know. What do you? You're walking to the arena and thinking, yeah, I'm just gonna go out here and just be out there. No, I get your point, but I don't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah. Earl, what you got?
Yeah, and I mean, I think also Colin Moore knew how dangerous he was, and he's not necessarily going to put himself out there to get in an advantageous position for Nickel. Now, as far as this match goes, Nickel's just not going to be able to freaking toss Damian Hahn around. I do have to lean.
Damien may toss him.
Yeah. I do lean nickel, but yeah, close match. Close match
right.
for nickel.
Yeah, I'm gonna go same here. Decision for Bo Nickel, and we'll be heading into the last match with a 3-point lead for 2019. But before we get there, I'm interested, Greg. I know you're around obviously the weight of all these guys. Did you wrestle Damian Hahn at all?
No, he's always bigger than me.
Okay. Other one, I know it's around the time. Did you ever wrestle Kale?
I did wrestle Kale. I wrestled Kale. I wrestled Joe Williams and Kale in a simulation match, back to back at Colorado Springs. That would have been going into the 04 Olympic Games, right? So between my junior and senior year.
Yeah. I'm interested. Yeah. You got to tell us. There's 7 national titles between the two of you guys. It's insane. Like, how does that match go? Like, how was it?
It was fun. He beat me. But it was I don't know, if I had to guess freestyle, it was probably something like 16-12 or something like that. Yeah, if I had to put a score on it, I don't.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about those matches just last week, actually. I wonder if they were on tape somewhere out of the OTC. But it was one of the final simulation sessions before they went to Athens.
God, I would pay to get my hands on that.
I'll ask Gary Abbott.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that matchup, man. That's got to be a lot of fun, especially being high scoring. But we'll jump down to the last matchup of the duel: Tommy Rollins versus Anthony Cassar. Tommy Rollins of Ohio State, Anthony Cassar, Penn State. We'll start off with Anthony Cassar. This is his first national title and only national title. And like we've said before, I don't know whether to call this senior Anthony Cassar or sophomore, or I don't know, because he technically has 2 years left. But, obviously he was, I think, a 4th year in college with all the injuries and everything that happened. But yeah, I mean, Cassar kind of struggled to break through into the lineup. He was at 197 and went back and forth with Shakur the year before, and they ended up going with Shakur. And that summer, he just decided, screw it, I'm gonna get big and go heavyweight, and it worked out for him, man, because he went to heavyweight, and I think everybody kind of thought that it was Gable's weight, and Cassar went out there and beat him handily twice. So he beat everybody in the weight class that he needed to beat, and proved that he was the national champ that year, man. So he went through Gable in the semifinals and then Derek White in the finals.
I don't know if he beat him handily, but
not handily, like he, like whooped up on him. But I'm saying, like, both of those matches, I think that, I mean, they were obviously close matches, but I just think they kind of leaned a little bit more Cassar than I thought they were going to lean. Is what I'm trying to say.
All right. Well, Jack's not here, so I'm trying to keep you honest.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. All right. No, we'll talk about that later. Yeah. Go ahead, Earl.
All right. Tommy Rollins. He was a 1 seed. He was a senior, 4-time All-American, going 2-1-6-1, 2-time Big Ten champion. At the NCAA tournament this year, quarters, he beats Bodie Ogunwale 8-6. Semis, Leonce Crump 5-2, who I think played in the NFL at some point. And then Pat Cummings 6-2 in the finals. This was a different era for Ohio State, not necessarily the program that we know it now. So he was their first 4-time All-American and only their second multi-time champion. And then he left as their all-time leader in takedowns, which is pretty unreal for a heavyweight.
Yeah. That's crazy. I think the interesting thing is that both of these guys are kind of the same, like, body type, especially for 2004, like, back before, the last 5, 6, 7 years, heavyweights are usually, the big guys, right? Usually real big dudes, they're not fat, but they're just big people, right? They're not like, shredded. And Cassar and Tommy Rollins are both, both built up to 285, and and they're just very similar body types and that different kind of new style of heavyweight that we're seeing more of. I haven't seen too much tape on Tommy, so I'm gonna have to kick it to you guys and see, what do you think, Greg?
I think Cassar is a very good heavyweight. I think Rollins is one of the all-time great heavyweights. I think he wins this match pretty easily.
Yeah. What do you got, Tony?
I agree. I think Rollins matches the athleticism of Cassar. I think ultimately the consistency of being at that high level, Rollins takes the match.
All right. And Earl?
Yeah, just a little, at least equal or better athletically, and a little better on his feet. So, give me Tommy.
Yeah, I was going to say Tommy as well. Are we going bonus point territory, or is it going to be a decision here?
No, I think.
Yeah, I don't think a bonus.
Maybe
I don't think so.
3-point win or something.
Okay, cool. So that's going to leave us tied up, and we're going to have to break this tie. So Tommy Rollins is going to win this match and set it up 16-16. And in order to break the tie, what we have been doing, we've had this. Well, we've only had this situation one time, but what we did before is we looked through all of the runner-ups for each team and try to decide like what's the best match of runner-ups, right? So like 74, you're gonna have Ben Askren versus Mark Hall, right? So what's a runner-up match that you guys like to talk about that maybe like you're not leaning one way hardcore, like, it could be a fair matchup to talk about? Is there any that jump out besides Askren Hall?
I think that might be the best one. I also think 125 could be interesting. So you could pick against Jack.
Oh, you better believe. Who did Powell beat in the finals?
Kyle Ott.
Yeah.
But no, I think maybe 74 is the answer.
Yeah, I think we might have to stick with 74. Got to keep my friendship with Jack going. But on your
who's Tyrone Lewis wrestle?
Vincenzo Joseph.
Ooh, that's a good one too. I don't know. Which one do you guys think's a better match? Or is more flippable?
I'll say this. Of the runner-ups, Tyrone Lewis is the best wrestler.
For sure.
On both sides.
Yeah, I can get on with that. Trying to keep it as fair as we can, though. I got it. Which runner-up matchup is the most flippable between those two? I mean, I guess you probably picked Tyrone. So, yeah, do you guys just want to stay at 74 with Hall and Askren?
Or we could do Espo and Micah Jordan. I like 74 better.
Yeah. Let's stay there because I truly don't know which way leaning on that one. So, 174. The battle of the runner-ups is going to determine our winner here with a bonus team point. So, for 2004, we have Ben Askren, and for 2019, we're going to have Mark Hall. In 2019, this is Mark Hall's third trip to the NCAA finals. He did win it as a freshman. Took the Heat out in, I believe it was the semis, and won a national title over Bo Jordan. And then sophomore year, he loses to the Heat in the finals, and same here. But he actually did have a win over Zahid earlier in the year. I'm
gonna be done in 5 minutes.
Yep. So Mark Hall, runner up. What you got, Earl?
All right, so we got Ben Askren this year. He was a freshman, NCAA runner-up. Obviously, he beats Brad Dillon in the quarters, 12-7. In overtime, he beats Tyler Nix from Iowa, 4-2 in the semis, and then loses to Pendleton, 11-4.
Yeah.
Who he had beat that year at the Big 12s, which I think you guys.
He beat Pendleton.
Yeah.
I'd like to also point out, I just got a chance to pull it up, but for that year for Mark Hall, he was undefeated coming into the finals. Lost to Zahid 4-3. So lost by 1 point in the finals, but was undefeated again coming into the finals. He had wins over Miles Amin, Taylor Luan, Brandon Womack, Devin Skatska, another one over Miles Amin, Dylan Leidy, Michael Labriola. Bunch of really, really good dudes there. So Hall was undefeated until this matchup. How do you guys see this match going, man? Greg, Askren, Hall, how would you see a matchup like that going?
It's a young Askren, but I think Ben scores too many points.
I think so.
I don't think Mark can keep up with the point scoring that's going to get put on him. I think Askren takes the win.
All right. Tony, what you got?
Well, again, getting back to, I don't think Ben had it all figured out. But I do think that Hall will kind of, get into these. He's not shy to get into some of these scramble positions. I'm very torn on this. But my gut was saying Hall. Initially, just that, initial, I think Hall figures it out, but man, it's super close. But again, watching video of Askren, he's still trying to figure out, the scrambling and the funk. Though he did beat Pendleton at the Big 12. So God, I'm super torn, but my initial gut said Hall.
Earl, what you got?
Oh man, I don't know. I feel like Hall would put himself in some positions
Danger.
that would be favorable towards Askren. So and I think it would be a no doubter for me if it was even sophomore, junior Ben Askren.
Yep.
But I still, for me, the first instinct was to go to Askren, and I guess I'm going to stick with that.
No pressure, dude.
That's why you're the host, the host,
Yeah.
the leader.
That's why you make the big bucks.
Exactly.
So I make all the money. Crap. Oh man, I don't know. It's tough because for me, I think it's a big deal that it's junior Mark Hall, and you said, was it freshman or sophomore Askren?
Freshman
Askren. Oh my God.
What was does anybody remember what the Askren Pendleton match was like in the Big 12 finals? Earl, I don't know if I saw a video on that.
I know I haven't recently.
Oh man. I hate this. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm voting Hall, and so I just think that this stage in their careers, I think that Hall is way more developed and just so good at this point. I mean, if it weren't for Zahid, he's going to win a national title in this weight for sure. Like I said, undefeated, beat all these really good dudes on the way to the finals. I don't think that, like you're saying, I don't think Askren had completely figured out yet what all his his funk and everything like that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to call Sam Herring.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Let's give Sam a call and we'll break the tie.
And so I don't know if Sam, I know he was watching at one point, but I'm going to call Sam and see what Sam says. He'll break the tie and decide this duel for us. So let's get Sam on. Man, this is wild, guys.
And I saw the score of that match. It was 9-7 for Askren.
Whew. Yeah, I could totally see Askren Hall match going that same way, right? Lots of points on the board. All
right, we gotta talk a little bit to fill this space while I get a hold of one of these guys. Man, Sam didn't pick up. All right, Jude.
All right.
All right, we're gonna see. We're gonna get one of them. But I'm gonna go ahead and place the blame here on Jack Mueller for not coming on. Hey, Jude, we're still live. We need your help.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna get your pick. You're gonna decide this duel for us. We got junior year Mark Hall versus freshman year Ben Askren.
Say that one more time.
Junior Mark Hall, freshman Ben Askren.
I mean,
I think it's Ben.
whoa.
Oh, look at there.
I think it's gotta be Ben.
Jude Swisher just picked against Penn State.
Wow.
Wow. So Jude. That's awesome, man. That's cool. Jude picks Ben Askren. Thanks, Jude. I'll talk to you in a minute.
All right, see you, Jacob.
Thanks, man. All right. So that's it, guys. Jude picks Ben Askren, and
Wow.
2004 is going to win this duel. Wow. That is not how I thought it was going to go. I
Wow.
intentionally picked Sam because I thought
Neutral.
he's neutral, right? And Sam didn't pick up, so Jude did not go Penn State. That's awesome, man. It's always good to hear unbiased picks. But Ben Askren is going to take that win for us and decide this duel 17-16 for 2004. We now have the number 14 seed in the semifinals. And 2019 was just taken out, and everybody's going to be pissed about that. So,
Yeah.
man, that's cool. Very cool. So, our bracket is now going to look like 2005 versus 2018 on one side. And then the other side, we're going to have 2013 versus 2004. So going to be a lot of really fun matchups. I'm excited to see this come down to the end. And we're going to have our first semifinal matchup Sunday morning live. So make sure you tune in. But thanks for coming on the show, Tony. Earl, as always, we enjoyed having you on. Hopefully we can get you back on more, Tony.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It was fun for sure.
All right, guys. Well, that's it from the HMA / Open Mat guys here. We've decided this duel. We thank Greg again for coming on. He had to go, has a lot of important stuff to do, but we will see you guys next time.
See ya.
See you.